Okay, hi. It's Monday morning here, and a quick video for wrapping up week 12 and starting week 13. Um, let's see, I saw the notice that I'm supposed to encourage all of you to do the course assessment form, so there's your encouragement. Um, just quickly about last week. In terms of the readings and the investment um, advice you got sort of from the readings. Um, the theme of week 11 and 12 are really very similar, and that is that you need to be prudent when you assess risk and when you try to deal with it. Risk is always there, it's part of our life because we don't know what the future holds. So that, but so that unknown can't paralyze us. It can't make it so that we don't ever borrow any money and that we don't ever invest our money to grow our wealth, but we do it prudently so that, if something happens in the future that we weren't banking on, we don't get wiped out. And so be prudent in your borrowing and in your investments, and don't bet the ranch uh, needlessly. Okay? Don't make decisions and bets about the future, predictions about the future that if they don't come true are going to sink your organization financially. Okay? Um, all right. The other thing about last week we had the Terry Ann Lunt Part A case study, better known as the Greater Boston Rehabilitation Services case study. And I really love this case study because there are so many things that have gone wrong at the organization that a new CEO could has a plethora of things to address, uh, at, and could address any of them. But I really love it that there's a key critical thing there that is kind of buried but really stands out, and that is that the funding sources are threatening to pull or drastically reduce their funding of the organization. And so this should be the red flag that a new nonprofit would focus on, um, because, right, no money, no mission. And Aaron did a nice job in his initial post of highlighting this issue. I then sent you an announcement, I guess, yesterday, highlighting this and um, talking a little bit about a sensitivity analysis, if you will, about the $600,000 nest egg that they have in cash. How big is that actually in relative size, and for how long would that actually fund the organization if it had a major, well, if it had a stoppage of revenue? And the quick little back of the envelope calculation would suggest you have maybe 2 months to replace your funding. Certainly you can't um, find large sums of money typically in 2 months. And so, sort of like with fundraising, it's a lot easier, or how about effective, to try to maintain funders than it is to find new funders. And so, hence, the importance of stewarding the funders that you do have, whether it's earned income, government grants, or donations, um, versus trying to go out and find all new funding sources. And in part B of the case study that we're going to read this week, you'll see that Terry Ann focuses on trying to maintain the existing funding, maybe not at the same levels, but at least in some fashion. And then she also then takes care of some of the other issues that you mentioned, or most of you mentioned, in terms of the institutional and organizational capacity of Greater Boston Rehabilitation Services. Okay. Okay, and the other thing about the readings this week is you have excerpts from this book. I didn't assign the whole book because in part it is redundant of some of the things we've already discussed, and also why have you pay another $36 or something for another book when we can just take some of the chapters out of it. And essentially from the slides in this week's lecture, you'll see that there are really just a couple of concepts. The first one is simply that when you manage finances as a CEO, not as a CFO, but as the CEO or the ED of your organization, you manage it like you would any other part of your organization, right? You get accurate data, you assess sort of where you are and where you want to be, you plan, and then you communicate the plan. And the other little dot down here that really should be here, in my humble estimation, is along with the communication you have evaluation, right? And that just goes to the old saying, for a ship without a destination, any port of call will do, right? In order to determine whether you've gotten where you want to get to, you kind of have to have some goals and some metrics by which you evaluate your performance, all right? That doesn't mean those metrics are always in stone, but they can change over time, but at least you have to have some goals, or else you can't say whether you're doing good or bad versus those goals. And then the second other major slide that you should focus on is this notion of the 5 elements, principles of financial leadership. And the thing I would maybe focus on here, because it's sort of a lead into next week, is move beyond mission versus money thinking. In other words, you're not going to take care of your finances at the expense of your mission, and you're not going to just pursue your mission without any notion to money, because the two, as we've talked from almost the first lecture, is that they are inexorably intertwined. No money, no mission, and what's money without a mission? A for-profit company, I think. And that's not what we're about here. All right? So, and why I said it sort of leads into next week is because next week we'll be talking about social enterprises a little bit, and the notion of how you can use market principles to make money for your organization that helps you maximize mission. Okay, enough about next week. I think that's it for now. Okay, I look forward to reading and talking with you online, particularly about the second part of the Terry Ann Lunt GBRS case study, and how you frame that through some of the themes of the course and the themes of this week's readings on financial leadership. Okay? All right, thanks. And again, if you have any calls, 413-237-7475. Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.